Welcome to the deep dive. If you're anything like us, your feeds are probably just buzzing with news about artificial intelligence.
Constantly.
Yeah, it feels like every single day there's a new breakthrough or maybe a fresh concern, another debate. And AI isn't just, some far-off sci-fi thing anymore, is it? It's really a dynamic force shaping our world right now.
Absolutely.
It's impacting everything from the tech you use daily to, well, critical national policy. So today, our mission is to try and cut through some of that noise.
Right.
We're taking the raw source material you provided us, and we're going to extract the most important insights, maybe some surprising facts, so you can walk away feeling truly well-informed.
And that's our deep dive approach. We've really been digging into your sources today, and they offer this fascinating, almost real-time snapshot of where AI is heading.
Okay.
We're going to look at how it's sparking, intense global competition, creating these new strategic imperatives for nations, and also how it's being adopted and adapted in a rapidly growing economy like India. The goal isn't just to tell you what's happening,
Right.
but really to help you understand why it matters right now in this incredibly complex and fast-moving landscape.
Okay, let's dive in then. Let's unpack AI's role on the geopolitical chessboard, because our sources show some pretty significant tensions bubbling up.
Definitely.
So take Deepseek, for example. It's reportedly facing expulsion from app stores over in Germany. They're labeling it illegal content.
Right, which is already quite serious.
But the real headline grabber here is the claim, coming from a U.S. official, that Deepseek is actually aiding China's military and intelligence operations.
And that just elevates it, doesn't it? From a tech issue to a major national security concern.
Exactly. And this connects directly to the broader context, like that escalating tech war we've seen.
Right.
Specifically, the 2022 U.S. ban on high-end NVIDIA chip exports to China.
Citing military concerns, yeah.
Precisely. And it's not just about bans. Our sources show there are real legal consequences playing out. Like in Singapore, 3 individuals are facing AI chip fraud charges. Their case is adjourned until August 22nd, but it really underscores just how vigilant countries are becoming about this critical, very sensitive trade.
It shows the stakes involved in controlling that hardware supply chain.
Definitely. And while that global competition focuses on tech and trade, our sources also show AI integrating quietly but profoundly into critical national infrastructure.
Okay, how so?
Well, consider Palantir. They've got this maybe unexpected partnership with a nuclear company.
Interesting pairing.
Yeah, they're developing what they call the Nuclear Operating System, or NS. So what's it for? Basically, it's meant to simplify construction, let companies build nuclear plants quicker, maybe cheaper.
Okay, streamlining nuclear construction using AI.
Exactly. And this, our sources note, links directly to U.S. President Donald Trump's executive orders aiming to boost U.S. nuclear energy production, driven, interestingly enough, by the booming demand from data centers and, you guessed it, AI.
It's a fascinating circle, isn't it? AI needs power, nuclear provides power, and now AI is helping build the nuclear plants faster.
It really is.
What these examples really reveal, I think, is a fundamental shift in how we even define national power.
Yeah.
It's no longer just about military might or, traditional GDP.
Right.
It's becoming profoundly about securing the foundational AI infrastructure. Everything from the sensitive chip trade we just talked about to even the energy sources that power all those AI data centers. It sort of suggests a future where technological sovereignty is becoming just as critical as territorial sovereignty.
That's a huge idea.
It is, and it's a profound, relatively new insight that we're only really beginning to grapple with globally.
Okay, so from those grand geopolitical moves, let's shift to the absolute gold rush happening in the pursuit of artificial general intelligence, or AGI.
The Holy Grail.
Right. And the corresponding scramble for top talent. Our sources confirm Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has created a new superintelligence team.
Okay.
Their specific task, develop AGI. And that's defined as AI systems that can perform tasks better than humans.
An incredibly ambitious goal.
Hugely ambitious, and the competition is fierce. And speaking of that talent scramble, we've got confirmation, apparently directly from ex-OpenAI researcher Christian Bayer, about his move to Meta.
Right. That was big news.
It was. He did, however, deny a reported $100 million payout.
Which, even the denial Tells you something about the kind of money potentially involved.
Exactly. The dizzying sums at stake for these top AI minds. And our sources also note other key researchers, Alexander Kolesnikov and Zhao Wazai from OpenAI's Zurich office, were reportedly also poached by Meta. So it's not just one person moving. It feels like a strategic brain drain.
It does seem targeted.
Then there's SoftBank. They have this incredibly ambitious goal, become a leading artificial superintelligence platform provider.
Right. SoftBank's always thinking big.
Always. They're making aggressive investments in 2025, like acquiring the U.S. semiconductor design company Ampere for $6.5 billion.
Wow.
And on top of that, they're underwriting up to $40 billion of new investment in ChatGPT maker OpenAI.
$40 billion into OpenAI on top of everything else.
Yeah. Now, SoftBank, of course, has a history of both, spectacularly successful bets like Alibaba and equally spectacular failures like WeWork.
Can't forget WeWork.
You really can't. After something like WeWork, you'd think maybe they'd be a bit more cautious, but nope, here they are, diving headfirst into AGI. What does that tell us about the perceived stakes here?
Well, I think the sheer scale of capital and, like you said, human intelligence being poured into achieving AGI is just staggering.
It really is.
And it highlights how foundational these top researchers are. It seems like, unlike maybe some other industries, AGI really hinges on a very small pool of truly exceptional talent. So these movements, these massive investments, they suggest that companies, and probably nations too, are betting that whoever gets there first, whoever owns that foundational AGI, stands to gain an unprecedented strategic advantage. It feels like an all-or-nothing pursuit right now.
Which explains the aggressive tactics and those eye-watering sums.
Exactly. It's high-stakes poker.
Okay, so from the grand ambitions of tech giants and these geopolitical games, let's zoom in on a region that really embodies AI's rapid and often complex integration into everyday life. India.
Okay.
Our sources show a truly dynamic landscape there. There's a report by Meta and Alvarez and Marsal stating that over 70% of Indian startups are integrating AI across their core business functions.
70%, that's huge adoption.
It is. And we're seeing leading sectors like healthcare and edtech really driving that AI-driven innovation.
Makes sense for those fields.
And it's not just startups. Corporate expansion is massive, too.
Yeah.
Lenovo announced multiple AI projects at Tech World India 2025. Their India revenue has surpassed $2 billion, and they're expanding their AI and manufacturing focus there. We also see HCL Tech extending partnerships with Salesforce for agentic AI adoption.
Agentic AI. So more autonomous systems.
That's the idea, yeah. AI systems designed to act more autonomously, making decisions, executing tasks without constant human oversight. Plus, they've got strategic alliances with AMD for digital transformation and Eon for product-based transformation. The adoption seems incredibly broad.
So it's really permeating the economy there.
It seems so. Now, here's a critical point for you, our listener, to consider because it presents this striking contrast.
Okay.
India actually beats the global average in employees using AI at work.
Higher than average usage, right.
Yet, according to Nipun Kalra, a managing director at Boston Consulting Group, nearly half of the employee respondents in a survey pointed to challenges like job loss over the next decade because of AI adoption.
So high usage, but also significant concern about displacement.
Exactly. It's almost like a real-time stress test of AI's societal impact, isn't it?
It absolutely is. India presents this really compelling case study of rapid AI integration. It showcases the immense opportunities, for efficiency and growth across different sectors. But that survey data points directly to the pressing societal challenges like potential job displacement that are going to need proactive solutions, not just reactions.
Right. And how do you tackle that?
Well, what's particularly insightful from our sources is UNESCO's work with India on AI socioeconomic impact.
Okay.
An official there stated that the time for just discussing the ethical framework had passed with their big recommendation report on AI.
Right, they put out those guidelines.
Exactly. And now they're saying it's time for action to demonstrate AI impact.
So a shift from talking about ethics to actually managing the real-world effects.
Precisely. It signals perhaps a broader global shift, moving from defining what AI should be to demonstrating what it can and will do, and then figuring how we manage those effects, both good and bad.
Okay, which brings us pretty naturally to another area of major impact and uncertainty, the unfolding legal frontier, specifically AI and copyrights.
Ah, yes, the big legal battleground.
It really is. The core conflict is quite clear. Big tech firms like Meta, Microsoft, OpenAI, Anthropic, they're all facing lawsuits over using copyrighted books and other materials to train their AI models.
Allegedly without permission, yeah.
Allegedly without permission. It's a huge legal showdown that feels like it's only just beginning. And the central legal debate really revolves around fair use in the context of AI training.
The classic copyright defense.
Exactly. The companies are claiming that using copyrighted material for training is fair use, arguing it's transformative work.
Right.
While authors and creators are vehemently demanding payment for their intellectual property, arguing it's basically outright theft on a massive scale.
Understandably so, from their perspective.
Absolutely. And what's crucial here and makes it so uncertain is that there have been mixed rulings so far.
No clear precedent yet.
None at all. Which really highlights the complexity and, frankly, the novelty of these legal battles. The law just wasn't written with this kind of technology in mind. Everyone is watching very closely because the outcome could reshape entire creative industries.
And it's more than just a dispute over royalties, isn't it? It feels like a fundamental clash between established intellectual property law and a completely new technological paradigm.
That's a good way to put it.
The legal system, it was designed for human-created works. Now it's struggling to adapt to AI's ability to just ingest and synthesize these vast amounts of data. So these ongoing legal battles, they're not just about who gets paid. They're really about setting the precedent for who ultimately benefits from AI's generative power. Is it the creators of the original content, or is it the developers who train the algorithms on that content?
And that outcome will define the future of both content creation and AI development itself, won't it?
Absolutely will. It's a foundational question for this next technological era.
So let's try and wrap this up. What does all this mean when we step back? We've seen AI emerge as this critical geopolitical tool, a magnet for massive investments and the very top talent, a driving force in national economies like India's.
Right.
And as we just discussed, a source of significant legal and economic challenges around intellectual property and copyright. It seems abundantly clear that AI isn't merely a technological advancement anymore.
No, it's much bigger than that.
It's a multifaceted force that's actively reshaping global dynamics, national economies, and even our most fundamental understanding of things like ownership and creation.
Yeah, the insights from today's deep dive really highlight that AI's story is far from complete. It's this incredibly fast-paced narrative of innovation, yes, but also intense competition, profound adaptation across societies, and these urgent, complex questions about fairness and societal impact that we are, frankly, just beginning to fully grasp.
So to leave you, our listener, with a thought for maybe some deeper exploration, given this rapid pace of AI adoption globally that we've talked about, and those significant concerns about job displacement like we saw highlighted in India, what proactive steps can societies, can policymakers take right now?
Yeah, what can be done proactively?
Right. To ensure a smoother transition and actually maximize the benefits of AI for everyone rather than, just reacting after the fact to its inevitable and probably quite disruptive impacts.
That's the critical question, isn't it? Moving from reaction to proaction. A lot to think about there.